A round of applause for her. She comes on stage. She's the coordinator, innovation agencies network in Africa. Also, as we invite Sheila, I'll also have to recognize one of their partners, that is Mr. Evandro Lopez from NOSI in Cape Verde. Maybe you can just stand to wave for us. NOSI, if he's in the room. Okay, perhaps he steps out. My second panelist, I'll invite Mr. Enos Weswa. Round of applause for Enos. Enos is the country director, UK Kenya Tech Hub. So we'll also be having him here with us. Thank you, Enos. So we shall begin. So Sheila, I'll start it with the side. So looking at the mandate of IAA, that is squarely placed to harmonize and integrate innovation agencies in Africa. I will wish maybe perhaps you highlight to us what are the practical frameworks that you can adopt to reduce duplication and build regional pathways for scaling innovations.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Philip, for that question. Maybe the biggest challenge that we are facing is limited collaboration, and this is what causes the duplication of efforts. So I think the first thing is to address the collaboration of innovation agencies, and then from there we can be able to address the duplication of efforts, because the limited collaboration is what causes fragmented markets and what causes agencies to invest heavily in research, in labs, in incubation centers, which they can always leverage against each other if they're able to collaborate. But before I even go out talk about the duplication of efforts, I think I can give a brief of the innovation agencies network, and just for you to understand where it came from and what it's about and the goal of the network. So for the first time, it's a collaborative initiative among national innovation agencies in Africa. So it was formed to address challenges, and these are challenges like limited collaboration, policy incoherence, capacity, insufficient capacity innovation agencies, as well as policy incoherence, insufficient capacity, and the other one was on funding. So those are the challenges that the national innovation agencies are tasked to solve. Now, the network is an evidence-based project. It was formed out of a research done by University of Johannesburg, and they did a mapping of Africa innovation agencies, and they found that there are some challenges that they face commonly. And then these findings were presented in a workshop where key innovation leaders in Africa were present in South Africa. And out of that, a resolution was formed to form the Innovation Agencies in Africa network. So that is the history behind it. So this network was launched last year during Kenya Innovation Week, and operations began in January. So we are four of us who are responsible for ensuring successful takeoff of this network. We have Kenya National Innovation Agency, we have National Commission of Research, Science and Technology Namibia, Technology Innovation Agency South Africa, and University of Johannesburg. So each of us has our own work packages necessary to enable successful takeoff of this network. So now just to bring context and for you to connect how Kenya National Innovation Agency is in this network, Kenya National Innovation Agency is the current host of the Secretariat, and this Secretariat is headed by CEO KeNIA, Dr. Tony Omansa. So maybe that is a brief of what the Innovation Agency is about. So now back to the question of duplication of efforts. So some of the things that we can do is to solve the collaboration challenge. And we have member meetings, we have trainings that are coming up, we have collaboration initiatives that we have planned for. So this is what is going to solve the collaboration issue. Then from there, how do we stop the duplication? One, we have strategies such as infrastructure sharing. We know there are agencies in Africa who are well advanced, others who are not so well advanced. So some have research labs and they have incubation centers. So how can we leverage that instead of developing new ones in our countries? So we connect such innovation agencies such that we're able to share infrastructure. So that is one, sort of spending a lot of efforts, money, funding to build our own structures we can share, and it's cost effective that way. Another way of doing it is through visibility. As the network, we can provide visibility for innovators to be able to scale across Africa. So one way is through, we have our website, we have our monthly newsletters. We are able to tell our members of key events that are happening and they'll be able to participate. Maybe there's an event, there's an exhibition, and this creates visibility for their products and they're able to move across borders instead of even spending more on their marketing efforts. So that also reduces duplication of efforts. So these are some of the ways that, as the network, we reduce the duplication of efforts. One is through enabling collaboration so that you're able to co-create solutions and work together to leverage on our strengths. Yeah, I think I'll end it there.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Sheila, to that. And speaking about infrastructure and collaboration, I would like us to speak to cross-border trade. That remains one of the biggest hurdles for startups currently to scale. And to put this perspective, I would like you to share about the cross-border toolkit that is hosted by KeNIA. How do you see it help startups?
Thank you, Philip, for that question. Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here. I just wanted, before I share my answer to the question, just to give context of where this was coming from. The toolkit hosted by KeNIA addresses the pillar, one of the pillar for the 10-year master plan that has been mentioned over and over, access to market. What happened is we collaborated with the East Africa, as the UK Kenya Tech Hub collaborated with the East Africa Research and Innovation Hub to actually answer one of the questions about the cross-border scaling. So again, it's important to understand that uh, it's also very key to know what stage you are at in developing either an innovation or a startup. So this particular piece just targets scale-ups. Yesterday, we had the innovations that were shared through the TTO as a service, and it looks like they are almost getting there to actually get to be scaled. Another very critical question we always ask, is the money the problem or market the problem? And Tony likes asking that question. Again, in answering that question, quite a number of critical information that we found that it takes money to scale. But when you know how much it takes to scale, the easier for you to ask for that money. The other thing, when you scale, basically your valuation goes up by 30%, which ideally places you at a more attractive position for any investors. So this is for scale up. So back to the question, when you look at the toolkit, and I hope we have sort of the QR code that you can just check the toolkit being hosted on KeNIA's website. One, it does demystify the regulatory complexity. You know, we are talking like this, but we all know what's on the ground. Like Tanzania saying, we're not going to do 1, 2, and 3. And that's from a regulatory sort of point of view. Really understanding how can we, first of all, understand the regulatory aspect of a cross-border, either country of a country. What does it take to actually launch or scale to that country? Now, I like what Sheila's mentioned about networking. And this, or networks, when we did a workshop it was a validation workshop for the toolkit. What came out from the research was that people leverage on two key things: the networks and the partnership. So as an organization, what did we do? We took that toolkit and say, let's try and see how best we can create the networks and partnerships that could facilitate a cross-border scaling or soft landing for these companies. And we took three companies, three scale-ups, to Uganda, Tanzania, and DRC Congo. And again, that became successful because, for instance, SevUp, they went to Uganda and found out that because they're a fintech, in Kenya they only had to have a conversation with the central bank to get the permit. In Uganda, they had to deal with about four other organizations: Bank of Uganda, CMA, NITA, UMRA, before actually getting the license. But they eventually got the license. So what does the toolkit contain? Other than the regulatory framework, it also has case study and examples of pathways that have been followed. And what does it take? Now, on the ground, what we got was just, it is important. What is critical is the introduction and knowing who to actually be on the table to make a certain decision. And what was coming out of the scale ups was that we also need to develop some government person who can actually introduce a startup to the government. And that's why I'm really excited about IAA, because it's an infrastructure we can leverage on. The last part, actually three, it also provide a critical checklist and market entry guidance. But what we embedded for this, so it has, currently it has 6 countries. We started with only 3 countries. For the other additional 3, they were gotten from a practical program that took the startups to this country. So the other bit that they asked for was the budget. Let's say I'm going to Uganda. What does it take for me to set up there? Just an estimation of what it costs, because it's so crucial when they are raising. And I think for this current one, it gives some estimation of what is the cost of scaling to the other country. Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Enos. Maybe a follow-up question to it is which other agencies or which other government, which other institutions, let's say a startup moves to Uganda today, right? Do you have a way in which the startup is able to get help while there, or before they are? Do you help that soft land?
Uh, Thank you for that question. Now, Ghana is not covered in the toolkit. And for those of you accessing the toolkit now, you're just seeing the 6th country. But our aspiration is to leverage on networks and institutions like IAA. And the other one is we are in collaboration with also Vestavel Hub, because they have presence, I think, in Ghana, Tunisia. And the work has been, whenever we speak about the practicality of this and how important to scale our companies, I know most of us are asking, why do we need to scale? There are companies that to scale, but others need, especially for startups, when they get to scale ups. So we are hoping to actually add some 6 other countries within the next 6 months. And Ghana is part of that. So for next, if I have an opportunity to come back here, I will actually tell you the organizations that you need to meet, and we are also trying to see if we can actually get contact and do introduction for the soft landing.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Enos, for that. We really appreciate. And moving to, because you've mentioned sort of IAA networks, and given the audience that we have here, Sheila, in Kenya, much of the universities will really be under pressure to have to scale. So So perhaps you can highlight to us how the IA networks, cross-border collaborations, can really help universities to actually tap into the resources and partnerships to scale beyond the.
Okay. Thank you, Philip, for that question. Just to follow up on what Enos has said, we share the same methodologies in the network as how they also operate. We also have validation workshops where, as a network, before we pass any important document, the members through a workshop and have consensus, especially on our governance mechanisms. So I'm glad to know that you also share the same methodologies as us, which is really good. And to share some of the benefits that universities can, align to. As a network, we have a joint collaboration program that is led by the Namibia team, and this is a co-design process. Members now, national agencies, come together and they go through a process of designing market-ready innovation. So they design a commercialization pathway for this market-ready innovation. So it's a collaborative process and it involves national innovation agencies. So how the universities can benefit from this is by getting involved in programs for the national innovation agency in the respective countries. Now we have 6 member countries. We have Tanzania, COSTECH, Uganda, National Commission of Science and Technology, and we have South Africa Technology Innovation Agency. We have the Namibia team, and University of Johannesburg. So in these organizations, the National Innovation Agency has programs where the innovators can participate in. If I talk on Kenya Innovation Agency, we have the R2C Research to Commercialization Program, the PIA Presidential Innovation Awards, and such programs, the university should be able to participate. And that's the only way you'll be able to benefit from the programs of the network. So how it works is, at network level, we have 2 persons. You have a focal person who's communicating anything on to the members, and then you have a technical person who's in charge of fronting innovations. So their work is to vet the innovations in the area and front which innovation is able to proceed and gets up to scale across borders. So a short answer is to participate in innovation programs in the country that you're in. So for Kenya, you'll be participating in the Kenyan Innovation Program. So that's R2C. And then since the network has already established office, our next step is to establish partnerships. So we're looking to establish partnerships with regional blocs. This is the IFCFTA, we have ECOWAS, COMESA, so that we don't duplicate the efforts and able to benefit from the results that have been in terms of removing the barriers to market entry across Africa. Over to you.
Sheila, for that. Perhaps just a clear indication that for the audience that is here to participate within program the network, then they have to participate within the programs within the national agency. Okay, sure. So to wind us up, Mr. Enos, looking at Growth Path Africa, what insights would there be for the universities that are here and also the startup spin-offs that they do have that you see you can speak to?
Thank you, Philip, for that question. And the other thing that I think just before I came on stage, we were having this conversation with Sheila about IAA, and I thought it's also a very platform for negotiation. I don't know if, of course, SCFTA, they are quite a significant player, and now how we bring them on board, like you've said, I think that will really make a difference because we need real negotiation. Because there's the technology we are building requires a bigger market. And I'll tell you, for you to actually build a startup to get to Series C, it means you're out of Kenya. You can't even build Series A when you're still in Kenya. So it's important to really understand the dynamics of what we are talking about. And this is just to also underpin the fact that some of us still confuse tech-driven enterprise and a local business model business. And it's so critical to get the difference, because when I'm talking about scale-ups and it's a local business model, they are still serving their purpose, but you can't force them to scale. Talking about for a technology-driven, and here technology is not digital. I'm talking about a differentiator, a component that is IP-driven, innovation-driven, science-driven. All those will have a scalability potential. And that's why investors come in. This is coming to actually put money for that scalability potential. So just going back to some of the tangible sort of learning that we gathered through the growth path marketing, which was a program that we thought demonstrate that actually soft learning can be designed and be delivered to other cross-border country. So the fund is actually built or to support university understand business model, and there's I'll refer to IAA. IAA would actually an business model per country and sort of understand, and this is an example I'll give. We had a health tech company called Checkups Cover. Checkups Cover in Kenya, they were running a B2B2C model. When they got to DRC, that did not apply. They had to change their model to B to G to B to C. Government had to come. So that's why they were asking, how can you guys introduce us to the government? And I think, back to my point, IAA still is an anchor, especially when it comes to that. The other thing is understand the true market dynamics, not just numbers. We know DRC is 100 million people, but this critical, it has like 3 districts which are quite distinct. There's Kinshasa, Lumbashi, Goma, and each has a unique market uh, dynamic. So university in training innovators should also emphasize on a number of market segmentation. And lastly is the real budget to scale. A lot of, when you get to a certain stage, and I think a lot of R2C graduates are actually here, there's something called unit economics. Unit economics, things like economies of scale, things like your CapEx, OPEX, and yesterday I mentioned about it. It's so critical to understand these things in different markets and even within it, so that you know exactly how much you're going to raise to actually hit your milestone.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Enos, for that. Now, for the benefit of time, we still have the KeNIA community, the Ceil Summit community, which the MC will be able to share with us, so that when we have more questions to this, kindly present your questions, and I'm sure Enos and Sheila will be able to answer to them. Otherwise, thanks so much for having us here and looking. Okay, sure.
I wanted to make a call to the startups that showcased yesterday. If we can get them to go to cross-border market, I think this will make a lot of sense. Don't you guys agree? Okay.
Wow, thank you so very
So
much.
far, thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. I know, but of course, we have Philip and the team here. In case you have any questions, you can approach them. So let's give another applause to the panelists here as they go to their seats. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You'll bear with us because time, and I'd like to invite on stage the next for the next panel discussion, and that is none other than Dr. James Njogu, Secretary General of Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. Please, Dr. James Njogu, wherever you are, let's appreciate him as he comes.
Good morning. I'm told I have very limited time, less than what I expected, 45 minutes. Let me go straight to the point. I invite my panelists, starting with Professor Maurice Owino. Professor Owino is a seasoned university administrator and researcher with over 20 years of experience in mathematics, innovation, and academic leadership. Please come forward. He works at the University of Kabiaga as a Deputy Vice Chancellor, Planning, Research and Development. Next is George Nyakoe, Mr. Nyakoe is a TVET Administrator and Innovation Advocate who has led student-driven tech projects and institutional partnership. Please come forward. Thank you for the applause. This is Alfred Makosi. Makosi, a policy strategist and a governance expert with deep experience in legislative affairs and youth-focused development. He's a lecturer at the Kenya Methodist University on IR and policy. We have the next person, two of them. Here is a student with experience. Mother Okari, where are you? Please come. Applause for her. Rising innovator in agriculture technology, blending hands and engineering with sustainable farming solution. Lastly, we have Stephen Gugu. Gugu, have a seat. I think one of us will stand. Oops. We have Stephen Gugu. Gugu is a venture finance expert and educated investment and teaches entrepreneurial finance. Please, an additional seat. You can have a seat here. I have already introduced you. I wanted to give you 1 minute to introduce yourself, but because of time constraint, I'll go straight to questions. The topic is bridging the skills to industry gap in universities and TVETs. Already we have discussed quite a lot the experiences provided here earlier, a good example. And in contexts, especially in Kenya, I know we are from different countries, and for Kenya here is under what we call competency-based education. I have not heard anybody talk competency-based, but the reality is that what we are talking about, this innovation, is to make reality be. I'm shooting questions straightforward, my panelists, and I believe you are ready. Professor Morris, we know. The first question is to you. If I have additional question, I'll ask follow-up questions. But I will give each of you a different question, one at a time, not the same question. So, the question is to Professor Odul. Given your experience, background in university research, and curricular development, how can universities better align their academic programs with the fast evolving in the industry? And I give you 2 minutes. I had prepared 4 minutes, but now it's 2 minutes because we are given 25 minutes.
2 minutes. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Now, before I tackle your question, allow me to invite the audience to recall 2 points here. Point number one, what is the basic function of a university? A university, what its name, is expected to generate, preserve, and transfer knowledge, skills, and technologies. In terms of generation and preservation of knowledge, skills, and technologies, we are top-notch as a country. The problem is when it comes to the transfer of technologies. And yesterday we had a candid conversation here We all agreed that as a country, we need to consume what we produce. Maybe this will promote our innovators, will promote our local technologies. Two, where on earth, and I dare say in heaven, would you get a critical mass of intelligent people, people who are, you know, um, well educated, people with very, very good brains? It is in the university. The other people are elsewhere. So when we have gaps in skills, we send them to the universities and we get the solutions. What do we do in the case where the industry needs are changing rapidly? Yes, we need to embed competencies in our curricula. And listening to the presentations here, even from the students, you realize that the thinking of our students is not linear. People want to diversify. If you have a degree in mathematics, you don't necessarily need to earn from mathematics. You can earn a living elsewhere. I have a colleague in the University of Kabianga who says, I have a PhD in chemistry, but I earn money from biotechnology. So fintech, biotech, agri-tech, we are doing very well. So can we make our curriculum very dynamic? But even before we do that, we have to review and recalibrate the mindset of all us, because we are dealing with the population of people who went through a different orientation. So we have to win their trust and we have to win, their flexibility, so that as they implement the curriculum, they must be alive to the fact that things are changing rapidly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor. Indeed, mathematics is not only used for calculating money or looking at money. The other day, the PS, Dr. Moria, talked about certification, where university students go for skill training in TVETs, a certificate, a diploma, or anything for them to become even more innovative and now practically applying university. This question I want to ask to George Nyakoe. I know Professor, unfortunately, it's not your question. And the question is, from your experience at the KISI National Polytechnic, what are the most effective ways TVETs can integrate real industry challenges into student training? To you.
Thank you. There's a lot to talk about TVET, but this time I'm not allowed to talk enough about TVET. There's a lot. I want to say that some of the things that are already happening in TVET, Kenya, not starting to happen, but already happening, is we are conducting continuous and specific labor market survey. We want to know exactly what we need to do to our curriculum, focus on enabling our youth to be employable out there. That's one of the things that is happening. And I want to say this, for us to have this successful, we need the industry and we need the university. Why I say that is because sisi at TVET, if I can say this, ni watu wa mkono. Ni kusema tu kata hii chuma weka hivi. We are more practical oriented. But at university we have in research who, if they are brought on board in collaboration and partnership with us, can help for industry, of course. That's where we want our youth to go once we have healed them. We want them to work or to get placement in the industry. Another very important aspect, I've talked about collaboration and partnership, and I'm calling this like a clarion call to all of us to come together and make TVET work. You said about the PS, she's very passionate about TVET delivery in Kenya. And of course, and another thing that is happening is we have mentorship programs, we have TOTs, there's a lot of training. Like right now, across our country, we have like 10 workshops in different regions where the PS has led to ensure that what we've come up with a modularized curriculum where all our trainers are being reskilled, retrained, so that we can provide and go forward in the direction of ensuring that our young people are getting the
Wonderful. Thank you very much. An applause for him and as well as for Professor. Now we go to Mr. Alfred Makotsi. You are in the area of policy. Yesterday during opening session, we talked about policy, making the environment for innovation. And we are very happy that the agency was created because it is driving change. And the PS spoke about that and the head of public service. So, Bwana Makosi, how can national policy framework better support collaborations between universities and TVETs and industry to close the skill gap? Maybe you'll mention CBC, CBE, and so forth. Please proceed.
Yes, when you talk about policy, in my perspective, it's about having conversations. The problem of us Kenyans and us Africans, we understand policy as something that should be implemented immediately and have results maybe the next year or a year after or a month. But to foster this meaningful engagement, we have to have deeper conversations between the university, TVETs, and the industry. And each partner must know that they are in a symbiotic relationship with each other. The universities feed into the industry depend on the TVETs and the university. So I would expect like a national summit like this, we should have very key partners from the industry level. Right behind me, I'm seeing sponsors of this event. I'm not seeing Equity, I'm not seeing Safaricom. These are the industries you're talking about. The government should be more, should create incentives for the industry to participate in such forums. And not only in these forums, we have the National Innovation Week, and there are very many forums provided by KeNIA. I think the industry needs to be motivated enough by maybe tax rebates and other incentives so that they be in this game in totality.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In fact, they all add to one, from one level to the other, that interaction and collaboration. And the policies, it's what you want to do or what you don't want to do. And therefore, even the result of this very wonderful summit, we'll be talking about what we want to do. And we'll advise accordingly because the brains are here. Now, this is a question to the lady, and the only lady in the panelists. I think my panel was not very favored. There was another that it was all ladies. I don't want to mention which one. So, Mother Okari. Okari is a very wonderful lady. Is a rising innovator in agriculture technology, and she's blending hands-on engineering, and I mentioned engineering underline with sustainable farming solution. And the question is, as somebody who is transitioning from TVET training to industry apprenticeship, what gaps do you notice between classroom learning and workplace expectations to you?
As he said, my name is Martha, and I'm currently an apprentice at John Deere Manufacturing Company that deals with farm machinery mostly. And also, I'm also a student in the Kisii National Polytechnic. So, back to your question. In the classroom, when you attend classes, you are mostly taught on the technical skills. You are taught on how you are supposed to do it. And usually you don't engage yourself mostly in the practical. Most of the time is one or two. But now in the workplace, Now in the workplace, you get yourself involved in practical skills. It's a daily activity. And the more you do it, it makes you come up with ideas. You know, in a classroom, you are being taught on limited choices. You go according to the curriculum. But in the workplace, you have extra experience to come up with more ideas and open your innovative mind.
Thank you very much. I've used 10 minutes, so I'm still having some time, madam. And now I want to go to Stephen Gugu. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it well. It is not Gogo, it is Gugu. And Mr. Gugu is a venture finance expert and educator who supports early stage investment and teaches entrepreneurial finances. And I think he's a guru. We are talking about finance gaps. We would want to hear him. And I will ask a question. So, how can entrepreneurship and venture capital thinking be embedded into university and TVET curricula to empower graduates for job creation, not just for innovation, including job creation? To you, Steve.
Thank you. That's a long question. And I was told yesterday that Google means precious in Zulu. So just a fun fact. So as mentioned, my name is Stephen Gugu. I'm from Victoria Ventures, and we've been supporting with the execution for the R2C program. And I say that because this ties very well to this conversation. One of the key things you have to do to prepare ventures to the point where they were at yesterday, where they were pitching their innovations, is you need to think about how they're going to be able to raise funding, which means that they have to prepare their pitch decks and they have to prepare their financial models, which means you have to have a certain financial skill set. Now, in our organization, and now to respond to your question, one of the things we do a competition called the Imari Financial Modeling Competition. And we created that because we realized some of the students you get from universities, when you give them, Excel and tell them prepare a financial model to support an innovator to be able to go and raise funding, a number of them have not worked as well with Excel. In fact, there's universities that we found that financial modeling is taught as a class with pen and paper. So someone comes and talk about the history of financial modeling and so forth. But when they go to the work environment, what happens is that they're given a computer and Excel, and they're told, we need to create a financial model. And so we started this competition, and over the last 10 years, we've trained over 2,000 students from 15 universities. And these students, after that, we look to place them into jobs so that they have the right kind of skill set in terms of being able to support innovators to be able to make these kind of financial decisions. So I think there's a collaboration that needs to happen there. But my second point, I know I have the microphone. You mentioned I also teach, and I teach at Strathmore Business School. I used to teach at the university some time back. In 2014, one of the courses I taught was called Entrepreneurial Finance, and it was to fourth-year students. And I remember it was mostly based on theory, but after a bit of negotiations, we were able to get that course to be 40% practical and 60% theory. So what we did, we found that we had an incubator next to Strathmore. So we just told the students that 40% of your grade was going to be graded by the innovators who are in the incubator, and they would create for them financial models and their pitch, and they would present that as a scoring for their 40%. And I think that collaboration within universities, just not being in silos, saying how can we work just within the institution and use the assets that we have, I think it's a very powerful tool to be able to move things forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have only 5 minutes left, and I want to use these 5 minutes by asking each of our panelists to give a parting shot. I have follow-up questions, but I won't ask the follow-up questions. So I want to start with Professor Mori, so we know. I give you 1 minute as part of the parting shot on your subject matter.
Yes, universities need to strategize on how our programs, our curricula can be interesting to the students. As we sit here, we represent different sectors. And I want to say that TVET institutions must never consider themselves as flower girls. Every university is located in a particular county. And every county has at least 20 TVET institutions. So universities can adopt these TVET institutions. I know there has been this fear that sometimes when a TVET institution is very, very close to a university, then it reaches a point where that institution may become a campus and lose that status. That has been the fear. But I want to say that as we look outwards, as we reach out to organizations and institutions outside the country, let us also strengthen regional relationships, partnerships, and collaborations so that we can pool the resources, we can pool the skills sets, we work together, and we make our programs relevant to the students in the 21st century.
Thank you.
As I finish, allow me to correct that I'm from University of Kabianga, not Kabianga University. Kabianga University does not exist. My university is University of Kabianga.
University of Kabianga. You have done very well to make that correction. I can see VC seated, like Professor Kotut there,
Professor
and your VC there. I think he signaled you. You didn't hear the mistake earlier. Thank you very much for signaling him.
Thank you.
And he has set a question for Stephen. But before Stephen, I guess you heard what he said. So he has set a question for Stephen. So, George, your parting shot.
I'll say this. First, I want to be grateful for this conversation, and I want TVETs to be brought more into into such conversation. The reason is this: we now have young people who finish degree, especially in the engineering areas, and they come back to TVET to do diploma in mechanical engineering, diploma in building and civil engineering. So TVET has a way of giving us the much needed practical skills, and that's the way to go. So thanks a lot for this conversation. We want to be brought more. Allow me, because it's my parting shot anyway, those from TVET, kindly, can we have you guys? I saw Pauline, I saw Frederick.
Oh, all from TVET. You know I'm going to do.
Robert.
Let's see.
You can even see the numbers here are very few. Let's be engaged more in such conversations. Thank you so much, KeNIA.
Thank you very much, George. Nice applause. Actually, we may have students at the university. Once they finish, please take them to TVET. It is very useful. I'm serious. Alfred Makosi.
My parting shot will be in two folds. The first fold is, first, we cannot ignore the role of counties. I have seen a unique absence of the presence of counties in matters innovation, yet young people, all young people come from counties, and counties have a role in shaping policy that enables innovators. Second, I think I'm speaking to senior managers in the education sector. I think we need more deeper research on the skills we need in the next generation. I don't see why. I personally graduated in 2016 from Maseno. Some of my classmates who studied education, especially education history, Swahili, have not been employed by TSC. Yet, we still have more people being churned out of the university studying education. So we need a practical, researchable tool that can make this country realize in the next 10, 20 years, which skills do we need, which one do we have in excess, and which ones do we lack. Thank you.
We are struggling with the CBE, and that is fitting very well. Now, the next parting shots from Madam Okari. We want to hear you more because the challenge is on you. How do you become innovative? Especially to the young people and those who spoke in front of us a short while ago. Please, Mother.
Thank you for this opportunity. Now, I'll start by saying that, as he mentioned, I am an innovator. And in my journey in Kisii National Polytechnic, actually, I came up with a project. I identified a problem. My problem, I saw it's water leak. Now, how am I going to solve this problem? I came up with a solution, a real-time water leak monitoring system. It's a system that simply pinpoints and identifies the exact precise location of a water leak. So now, what inspired me in coming up with this project is in your daily life, actually, water leak is a worldwide problem. Like from a tap that leaks for around 10 minutes, over 100,000 liters can be lost. If you calculate it into monetary values, I think that's a lot of money. So now, in my journey, when I came up with this problem, with this idea, okay, there are just a few challenges that I came through, like how I lacked the mentorship on how to commercialize my project. That is where my head of research coordinator, he was supposed to be here, Mr. Frederick Wetaba, came in and helped me on the project. Because, how will I pitch my project into a product? Now, with me here, I came up with an advanced water leak detector. Yeah, it can also, so I was mainly aiming water industries, sewage lines, like the Kabete water treatment reserves. That's according to theory, according to my research, the problems that I came through. Water leak is a huge problem. So I was trying to save water. No, water is life. Also save time for the plumbers, the efforts that you do to avoid environmental pollution. Yeah. And also, I was trying to save a lot of money. So I'm saving water, I'm saving time, and I'm also saving money. It's called being creative. Solving three problems at a go. Now, my advice to the rising innovators, you should open your mind to new opportunities that come your way. Like, you can just sit down, come up with an idea, carry out discussions. And also, my advice generally to the industry, to the universities and TVETs, I believe that we should carry out a collaboration. If we do so, we will actually fill the market gap. And not only that, we'll also be able to unlock a lot of new innovators, have a lot of job creators, and also entrepreneurs. After all, we're trying to shape Africa. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Applause. There is money in innovation. There is employment in innovation. Water losses and leakages is a major loss to water. Maybe later I'll ask another question. For those guys who want to shower forever, they stick in the bathroom for that a minute. How can you control the water they are using? And especially the most expensive one that is value added, hot water. Hot water. That we'll discuss later. We need a meter to control some of these guys in some of the rooms around so that we conserve water and what they pay is equal to what they spend. So, money now and resource mobilization. Stephen, what do you want to say as your follow-up question? And also linking with Professor so that we complete a circle. And don't say University of Kabiaga or Kabiaga University, whichever. Please proceed.
I'm just going to have two parting shots, please, for me, to stay within topic. The first is there can be really good collaborations between industry and academia, and especially in terms of preparing students to be ready for the market. What I have seen on my side, mostly private, to say when they have a need. I'm not seeing as much of the universities coming and asking and saying we can produce this solution. So there's probably need to think about that other perspective. How do you go and sort of like show a specific solution that you can be able to provide? Because for us, when we started, I was talking about the competition, financial modeling competition. One thing I have to appreciate is that the university was very welcoming to us because we provide internships. After you go through the training, some of the students get some internship. But the one thing that I think is not mined, and maybe this is my final parting shot, is the alumni. Right? I studied at University of Nairobi at law, and I've never been invited even once. And if I was invited, I would go back. Yeah, I would go back to sort of like facilitate, to add value, but I've never received even one email saying, alumni, you left this year. So I think just tapping, and this my experience at Strathmore was also that I would invite a lot of the alumni, and they would be very willing to come back and share with the other students and prepare them to make them more ready for the market. So if there's one challenge I would like is just to leverage on our alumni much more, to invite them in class and to have those simple lectures that they can be able to support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have spent 27 minutes. Let us applause for our resourceful persons. And I want to end with a quote that innovation is not a solo spark. It is a wildfire ignited by shared vision, fearless experimentation, and courage to rewrite what is possible. Once more, you stand up and I ask again, you be applauded for your resourcefulness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, our moderator, for keeping time. Thank you so much. They can have a group photo as we head for a quick tea break that will take about 15 minutes. Please, because of time, as they have a group photo, the rest of us can proceed for tea break. Please take 15 minutes and let's be back here to finalize on our day 2.